Hello everybody and welcome to Pravus Gaming with more Hearts of Iron 4. We're trying out a new mod today. It's called Red World. I say that it's a new mod. It's actually been around for a little while, about a year and a half or so, and has not been updated quite as recently as people would like. We're stuck with version 1.5.4 Cornflakes. Even so, I want to give it a shot because this is another one of those alternate history mods that takes a critical moment in human history and tries to turn it on its head. So similar to Kaiserreich, which asks the question, what if the Germans had won World War I? Red World asks the question, what would happen if the Soviets had won the Cold War? So obviously this is going to be a bit more of a modern focus, but if communism and socialism had taken over the world and the Soviet Union stood as the world's dominant superpower, how would things be different? I have no idea if this mod is balanced or not. I just kind of know I want to give it a shot. Alright, right off the bat I can see we have a whole bunch of unique portraits here. So we got this Soviet Union, of course, led by Dmitry Yesov. We have the People's Republic of China, the German Democratic Republic, the UAPR, Union of American People's Republics. Ooh. Established in the catastrophic collapse of the United States, loyal communists and supporters of the Soviet leadership fled west to create a new America based on their vision. Interesting. We also have the American People's Commonwealth. So there's two American nations, a nation of communists who have no loyalty to the Soviet Union, condemning it as a fascist and abomination. When the United States collapsed, these like-minded activists enforced their iron grip over the Northeast, expelling all upper-class citizens, or at least those who hadn't already left. And now, the economy is stagnating, and the Commonwealth's industrial capabilities have collapsed. Is that Bernie Sanders? Oh my god, it's Bernie Sanders! There's Noam Chomsky, but still, that looks like Bernie Sanders to me. Okay. We may have to try this one out. The American Republic, or it is more commonly known around the world, the Remnants, is officially the successor state of the United States. When Reagan resigned and essentially dissolved the U.S. Wait, Reagan resigned and dissolved the U.S.? Reagan, no! Vice President Bush seized control in Washington and ordered all loyal patriots to flee south. Huh. Fascinating, and it looks to me like I wish I wasn't Dixie, the South shall rise again. Well, that's gonna be fun. Donald Rumsfeld. Okay, and the United Kingdom by David Owen, last bastion of democracy in Europe. In lengthy talks with the Irish government, both sides agreed in the early 1980s to push aside their differences and create a unity government with Northern Ireland. Interesting. So these guys, the Democrats, everyone else is either some form of radical, almost fascistic dictatorship, or maybe perhaps like actual well-meaning socialism. I don't know. We're gonna try the American People's Commonwealth because I think this sounds like it's gonna be hilarious. Also, I don't think I've ever played as a communist nation in Hearts of Iron 4 on this channel. So it kind of seems fitting that we're going to have to play as somebody communist in Red World. Industrial Workers of the World Revolutionary Faction. Revolutionary Socialist. That's going to be our style of government. Okay. Standing Firm, Drift to Nationalism, Communism, and Fascism. Political Deadlock, Western Corruption. Drug Honeypot. Okay. Bernie's Speech and Slowly Abolish Wages. Huh. All right, let's go into this. Wow. The United States is completely broken apart. Fascinating. Okay, so there's the People's Republics over there in the West that are aligned with the Soviets, who are, yes, of course, still large and in charge. People's Republic of China is looking pretty strong right about now. United Kingdom's in a bit of a weird spot here. I thought that they united with Ireland, but apparently not. French Socialist State. There's a Kingdom of Spain. German Democratic Republic, Italian Union. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so this is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun because it's just so dang unique. I've heard that the writing of this mod is actually pretty legit. Some people would say that it doesn't have nearly enough national focuses and it's got a little bit of balancing issues and the AI likes to spam absurdly, stupidly weak divisions. I don't know. We're going to find out for sure ourselves, but at least if the writing is good and it tells a really cool alternate history story, I'm not going to be upset by that. Alright, so here we are in the American People's Commonwealth. Yes, led by Noam Chomsky, revolutionary socialist. There are a lot of different ideologies here. Moderate socialist, new Democrat, liberals, national conservative, nationalists, communists. Okay, so which one is like the Soviets? Okay, so they're communists. So I guess so are the UAPR. Yep. So I am revolutionary socialist. I'm going to prove that we are the best kind of socialism. Also, the Republicans are the nationalists in the American Republic. Well, that just kind of figures, don't it? Okay. We're having all sorts of fun with a lot of different kinds of mods, aren't we? I mean, gosh, we've been playing with Fallout, ponies, successful communism, all sorts of different kinds of fiction. It's amazing. All right, let's go to research slots. We start with 4. Ooh, okay, unique icons for a lot of stuff. We are starting in 2010. So I guess our tech goes back to 1995 and can go about as far as 2024. That's interesting. So we have our post-Cold War equipment and our Cold War support weapons. I don't know if these stats are very different from the base game. It may just be a reskin. I'm not too sure. Modern equipment could end up being pretty nice for us just to get some better guns. We'll probably want to be aggressive if we can. We do start off with motorized and special forces like that. We've got engineers and field hospitals. Some level of tank. Okay, we could go for another version of light tank. Just, you know, silhouettes. That's fine, except for this one, which is red for some reason. 2016 main battle tank. That sounds fun. Future tanks. The best kind of tanks. Artillery. We have everything here more or less unlocked. Doctrines, not starting with anything in particular. Let's go ahead and start with superior firepower. I assume this hasn't been completely redone, but I like superior firepower quite a bit. Not a lot going on in the Navy. Yeah, because I guess we are going back to cornflakes. So this is going to be before there's a whole bunch of different naval changes. So man the guns, I don't think, is enacted here. So we're going to go back to the old form of naval combat. To that extent, we have destroyers, cruisers, carriers, and submarines unlocked. No frigates as of yet. Naval doctrine, and that's fine. Fighters, bombers, okay. I like that these are basically UAVs and stuff. Air doctrine, we have the modern internet. Yes, we'll start with the internet, of course. That leads to protected networks, modern hardware. Okay. I think most of this is just a reskin, honestly. I don't think it's quite as unique as it looks like it is at first glance, but that's fine. Modern assembly lines, okay, and then we'll go for the construction tech with basic construction tools. Oh, right, we don't have the same kind of synthetic oil in cornflakes. A lot of things I have to get used to over here. How are we doing in terms of, like, factories and stuff? Looks like we have 64 in total. What's our... consumer goods are 44%. Well, that seems pretty bad. Okay. Well, in theory, we could actually have a lot of factories if only I could get away from this whole civilian economy nonsense. Would love to get to things like partial mobilization. That could be certainly quite helpful. We'll have to come back to that, though. So what else do we want to be building? Well, we don't have a lot of military factories, actually. So you know what? Much as I would normally start by building up some civilian factories and stuff, we're going to go ahead and just build up some military factories for the time being. Interesting that infrastructure does not show up. It's kind of weird playing an old version of the game. And we still have more civilian factories ready to go. What's this? A research center. This building produces a nation with more research capabilities. What does that mean? I don't know, but we're building one in New Jersey. I'm just going to build one. I think it's going to take a very, very long time to build. Is this another research slot? Oh, that would be interesting. Hospitals. More recruitment capabilities. More manpower? Chromium factories. Okay, so if you get the right kind of tech, we can actually just start getting new types of resources. That's interesting. Dockyards, this stuff's all pretty much normal there. All right. So how are we looking in terms of the political situation? So we have volunteer, export-focused, civilian economy. Need to get away from that ASAP. There are some decisions available. Interesting. Wait a minute. So not the normal decisions tree. You have to do decisions from here. You can call for an election. If we were a different type of ideology, we could have an election. Otherwise, who needs that? That's nonsense. Power-hungry demagogue. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff down here. Not a lot of options in terms of designers and stuff, which I find unfortunate, but okay. Kind of curious to see if there's going to be, like, other people I recognize, like famous people that are alive today. I mean, it's only 2010, but I don't recognize any of these folks. All right, fine, whatever. Military factories. Right, so we need some support equipment. Sorry, main infantry equipment. There we go. Some support equipment and some artillery. So let's go ahead and produce basically this to start and see how we feel. I have no idea how this is going to play. I've never even seen someone play this mod, so I don't know who we're going to be fighting first. I'm hoping it's going to be like Illinois and the Great Lakes Republic and start taking some land. I'd like to start with Illinois if that's an option, actually. No generals. All right, new commander needed. I guess you got to be in charge, Ezra Waterhouse. You're terrible at everything you do, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Free dockyards. Got a lot of those. We'll get some convoys, certainly. And then we'll want some destroyers. And then some... What's a corvette comparatively? I don't know. Subs. I guess we'll do corvettes. These might be like light frigates. I guess I'll work a little bit on carriers. Sure, in 7 years, we'll have a carrier. It's not exactly much, is it? You know what? Cancel that. Let's instead go for just more destroyers. Sure, I guess that'll be fine. Trading. We need to trade with Saudi Arabia's got loads of oil. Dang, that's been rebalanced a little bit. India, I'm going to trade with you. Soviets, no. Turkey, sure, why not? So who else has been communified? Brazil is actually still liberal, interestingly enough. Lots of nationalists and other stuff going on down over here. Mexico is national conservatives. Okay. West African Union. So not the entire world. The entire world does not become necessarily communistic. A lot of them are, though. They've definitely formed some sort of a bloc. New Democrats for India. Who are you? Ooh, Rajiv Gandhi. Okay. Monarchists. The House of Bourbon. Interesting. There's a story with all of that. The United Kingdom is still liberal as well. Fascinating. All right, let's go ahead and actually unpause the game and continue with Red World and try this out. I don't know. I'm curious. Whoa! Okay. Hi, Noam Chomsky. President Chomsky's New Year address. My fellow Americans, when the time comes each... This is not his voice, by the way. When the time comes each year to address you in this unique New Year address, I am always faced with something the authors of this Commonwealth would know as writer's block. That is so inspiring. My gosh, he's an amazing leader. There are so many struggles and issues within our nation, across the borders surrounding us, and even the seas to our east, that the short time I am given to personally speak to my people simply cannot allow total coverage. Which is why, on this great day of celebration for the world, I am forced to find the most pressing complication. Okay, at this point, I believe it lies in the Commonwealth itself. Since the revolution of 1988, we have taken great strides in national, social, and economic development, forging the American People's Republic into an industrial superpower unmatched by most around the planet. And yet, in that same time frame, the political deadlock strangling Philadelphia has remained unresolved for too long and causing distress for all Americans who wish to see a government working in their favor. As your president, I cannot promise the great political reforms of past years, as it is my firm belief that the revolutionary period is long gone. We as a country are settling into normalcy, and yet Philadelphia has failed to move along with every other hard-working citizen. So this year, my New Year address is not directed at the millions watching from their television seats. I am speaking straight to the heart of American injustice, those who would seek to bring down my presidency and everything it stands for, at the expense of the average family they see as below them. And whatever 2010 may have in store for us, rest assured that if a newfound effort for the common good is not established soon, the office of the president may have to be utilized at its full potential. Uh-oh. Sounds like someone wants to go full filthy dictatorship. All right, national focus. Okay, we got a few different options here. I don't see a lot of options. It sure as heck looks like we're going to be making Sanders the president. Only an alternate history, Bernie. All right, no, it's fine. Can we not do anything yet? I don't think we literally can do any of our national focuses right now. It seems like we have to wait until the Central Committee being dissolved, and certain councils have to be in control. Bill Gates is president? Okay. No, it's fine. Boston Constitution, Bernie Sanders is president. Okay. Convene a unification council? My gosh. But what does Bill Gates get me? Is Bill Gates a socialist? I don't know. Technology for all, Gates' speech on technology, empower the technocracy. Ooh, okay, so we become sort of a communist oligarchy, which is, I know, a bit of a paradox, I know, but still. American Socialist Pact, United Broken America, annex war goals on everybody. I like that. Civil War, end of Civil War, impeach President Chomsky. What is happening here? Pray for New York. Flags raised from half-mast after 5-1. May 1st? All right, something's going to happen May 1st. We don't know what it is. I guess in the meantime, let's go ahead and just get some political power. I have absolutely no idea what is happening. I'm just very curious. It's so cool to just jump into a mod that's completely unfamiliar like this. You know what I mean? It's like, who doesn't like this? Do you have a lot of troops, by the way? Great Lakes Republic led by Melissa Hortman? No, you don't have much. Let's see. Illinois is a constitutionalist liberal by Stephen Weber. Okay. Texas is led by Rick Perry. Yep. Know you. Bill Hammonds. Okay. Harold Covington. Mike Leavitt. Okay. Harry Mitchell. No way. Oh, this is funny. Oh, this is freaking hilarious. Who's Canada led by? They're progressive conservatives. National conservatives led by Preston Manning. Huh. Southern border wall. With a recent influx of refugees from the American Republic, usually originating in the Midwest, some members of the Central Committee have suggested a southern border will be built to defend the Commonwealth against undesired immigration. Oh, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound like a very socialist-y thing to do. The president has declared his deep opposition to this plan, but also said in his input during a heated debate that if the chamber passes a bill to build such immigration defenses, he will still reluctantly sign it into immediate action. So the question now is, does the bill have enough support in our legislative body? Too expensive. The bill passes. We have factory output reduced, recruitable population goes down, and consumer goods factories goes up for 250 days. But no immediate upsides, which makes me think that once it's done, we get something. Or build an even more secure wall. 500 days. Ouch! Okay. I'm gonna go for the bill passes, and let's see what happens. Future of the Commonwealth. Hey, look, the two towers are still standing. Born out of two divisions, that of the United States and that of the communist world, the American People's Commonwealth has remained isolated for 2 decades. As the Soviet world orders stretched from Europe to Asia, our brothers who saw the terror of the USSR struggled to stay afloat. While many have fallen in the years past, the ideals of revolutionary socialism are still solidified in the lives of everyday Americans, as well as in many nations across the world. But in order to spread this ideal, we must ask ourselves, what future is there for the Commonwealth? Should we reach outwards across the seas? Or would uniting the former United States once and for all elevate us to the position of world power we deserve? Death to the remnants, death to the Soviets. Sounds to me like people have made their decision. I think we need to reunite the United States, dang it. I think we need to create a new revolution, all right? It's gonna be a new revolution across the United States, across the world. We're gonna revitalize socialism in the American way. Frickin', is that Tulsi Gabbard? It is Tulsi Gabbard! Led by the New Democrats. Oh my god. Okay, what factions exist? Hang on. Okay, the Democratic League exists. So we got Australia, the Liberals of Britain, Canada. Okay, so basically the Commonwealth states plus Hawaii. Who's this? The Warsaw Pact exists for what nation is this? The French Socialist State. Okay, so they got some islands down over there. And so it's the Warsaw. Yeah, it's Warsaw versus the Allies, basically. So there's only 2 factions as of right now. We may end up changing that. I have no idea. We're gonna find out. I've got no manpower? What? I've got actually no manpower. Oh, it's negative mobilizing per day. We're literally not getting any. Eligible core population is 100 million. Monthly growth in states. Yeah, absolutely nothing here. 2010 Winter Olympics. That looks pretty cool. A brief sigh of relief for the IOC, which is currently being chalked by a war for the 2016 Summer Olympics, in which both the American Republic and Soviet Union have presented bids. International community, blah, blah, blah. The French government has been planning a grand opening ceremony. The time has come. Fascinating. Gosh dang it, this is already fun. I have no idea if this mod's going to stay good or not. No idea, but by God, I want to find out. What kind of decisions do we have here? The assassination of John F. Kennedy gets an event. I think... Oh, interesting. This is teaching me some history. Okay, 1952 presidential election, surrender at Okpo Dong, Iranian coup d'etat, Guatemalan coup d'etat, presidential elections, civil rights movement, presidential elections, Cuban Missile Crisis, assassination of Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon got assassinated. So this is telling you what's happened since World War II and leading up through the Cold War to, I guess, the revolution of 1988. Seems like there's a whole nother decade of stuff missing there, but still. Anti-Soviet faction wins convention. The Ethiopian Workers' Party convention. The internationalist faction has gained significant support from both Shingo and throughout Ethiopia. Really, what's going on over there? Chapel of the Tablet destroyed. The Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion has remained relatively hidden from the public for millennia. None have been allowed to enter, and even the socialist Ethiopian government have remained reluctant to enter due to its public outcry. I think there is actually a special temple in Ethiopia about this sort of thing, isn't there? I don't know. So what's going on with you? You are communists. Okay. Prospect of famine, huh? Gaddafi's treasurer resigns. Gaddafi. Okay. Muammar Gaddafi, National Bolsheviks? Fascinating. Okay. Don't really know what's going on over there or if I'm supposed to care. But still. Looks like Cuba's led by nobody in particular. He likes to hide behind a sheet with a bright light behind him, so all you see is his shadow. Yezhov is dead! The leader of the Soviet Union is dead! Terror in the streets of Leningrad, as Chairman Yazov was attending a state tour of the recently opened European Liberation Museum. One of his supposedly loyal guards opened fire on the head of state, killing him almost instantly. As the rogue bodyguard was terminated by his colleagues, the other Politburo members rushed to Yazov's side, only to see the bloody mess that was, until that moment, the most powerful person in the world. Who will rule the Union now? Indiana governor disappears. The governor of Indiana, Kathy Davis, no way, has seemingly disappeared off the face of the earth. Failing to attend any meetings of the state assembly, her chief of staff traveled to her rural home to ensure she was well, but instead discovered that one of the most powerful women in the Commonwealth was nowhere to be found. He proceeded to inform the appropriate authorities, who were awaiting confirmation from President Chomsky to initiate an investigation. However, our head of state doing such a thing would be seen as an intrusion of states' rights. I guess we have states here? Okay. Despite it literally being the only way to investigate the whereabouts of state leaders. And this certainly raises the possibility of Mrs. Davis simply retreating on an undocumented holiday. Start an investigation or don't. Let's peeve people off and try to get Chomsky impeached or something. I don't know. We need to break the political deadlock. At this point, I don't care who wins. We just need to end it. The new chairman, Gennady Zyuganov, a loyal member of Chairman Yazov's faction within the Soviet government, has been elected as the successor. Okay. His rule will be one of moderate totalitarianism, aiming to maintain control over the world through diplomacy. That doesn't seem extremely totalitarianist, but okay. Philadelphia intercepts terrorist chatter. Counter-terrorist military divisions in Philadelphia have intercepted terrorist chatter from Indiana and Western Ohio, informing the president that Kathy Davis's disappearance could more than likely be an abduction at the hands of right-wing or communist terrorists. As of now, they have been unable to determine whether this chatter represents the former or latter of our enemies, but Chomsky is clearly determined to save his governor from certain torture and possible death at the hands of vile radicals. Good thing we started that investigation, or else Kathy Davis would surely die, and that would be a tragedy for everyone involved. Kathy Davis has been rescued! Yay! A sudden raid of southern Indiana has led... Is it Gary, Indiana? Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana... has led to the discovery and subsequent rescue of Governor Kathy Davis, with no casualties on our side and total destruction of the small terrorist cell. With Davis on her way to Indianapolis in a secure motorcade, rumors are already flying around the country as people start wondering again who could have taken her. Whether they were communist radicals or right-wing terrorists from the South, most citizens of Indiana are just glad that their faithful leader has returned with minimal injuries. President Chomsky was praised for immediate order to investigate her disappearance, rather than shying away in an attempt to avoid anger from the old guard for interfering in state affairs, despite his constitutional obligations. I'm just freaking winging it at this point. I have no idea. Princess Diana, no! Kathy Davis has been returned, okay? A few hours ago via motorcade, required time to rest. Now, with that restored, she returned to the state assembly in order to deliver a speech to her fellow colleagues and in turn the frightened people of Indiana. After telling them almost every detail of a horrific and surely life-threatening ordeal, her closing remarks called for all people of Indiana to rise up against terrorism and face our fears with resilience. A standing ovation from the state assembly was seen on television sets across our Commonwealth, every citizen captivated by the speed and efficiency of our police in bringing her home safely. All right, maybe, you know what? Maybe Chomsky's not going to get impeached. Maybe we did something good. Governor makes yearly pilgrimage. Vermont Governor Bernie Sanders has made his yearly... Stop it! Stop it! His yearly pilgrimage to the graves of his wife and children. On March 8th of 1990, while Bernie was on a goodwill trip to Portugal representing Philadelphia's new government, the Radical Socialist and Central Committee-aligned governor of Vermont orchestrated a significant purge of all opposition within the state. What? Hold up. The Radical Socialist and Central Committee-aligned governor... So was that Bernie or was it not? Without any approval from the Capitol, he illegally used state troopers to round up those who opposed the Central Committee and had them shot. Those included his wife, Jane Sanders, and 3 children. Bernie arrived back at the Commonwealth upon hearing this news, and only a day after President Noam Chomsky immediately removed the governor and had him tried by the Central Committee, who reluctantly called for their allies' execution by firing squads. Okay, no. Bernie Sanders did not get his wife and kids killed. Okay, good. Who reluctantly called for the allies' execution. Every single year, the current governor makes a pilgrimage to their graves, vowing to never let those who took on so much from him take so much from the country again. 20 years. All right. Interesting. So Philadelphia is our capital. Oh gosh, there's so many events. Indiana's secret police have filed a report on the White Phoenix, a mysterious figure. Governor Davis told them all her captors spoke with an ominous fear and admiration. While not much is yet known about the apparent leader of their crushed terrorist cell, I'll bet you it's a KKK member, President Chomsky will surely wish to be aware of any further developments. Perhaps this was the White Phoenix's grand scheme, and its failure will hopefully send him spiraling into obscurity at the hands of other terrorist leaders within the American Republic and abroad. Yeah, I just got a little bit of a suspicion there that it's going to be a KKK Grand Wizard down in the South. And he says the South shall rise again like a phoenix. I'm noticing my troops don't seem to be fully supplied. What are we missing right now? Nothing that I know of. What is going on with you guys? What are you missing currently? I think manpower. Ah, yes, it's absolutely manpower. I don't have fighting men. Yeah, we need to get this resolved. Mustafa Abdul Jalil, assassinated in somewhere. Beta. I don't know what that is. Oh, gosh. Vermont, insurgency ends. Since 2008, an insurgency has gripped the people in Vermont, forcing them into watching behind their backs and fearing those who have been their friends for many years. It infected the lives of every single citizen, preying on their fears in the unknown. Whatever terrifying attack could lunge out of the darkness. I don't know what's going on here and why they're so terrified, but alright. But the ongoing 2008 insurgency ended exactly how it began, with an attack of unprecedented proportions. During the early months of that year, fanatic supporters of a conspiracy theorist who claimed to be a victim and almost perpetrator of the greatest American terrorist attack in history gathered in the mountains to fight against our government. Their first move was a direct attack on the capital of Montpellier, unleashing devastation upon Bernie Sanders' official home in the center of the city. The governor's house was partially destroyed by 2 bombs detonated on one side, aimed at murdering the governor himself. Fortunately for our loyal public servant, he was not home at the time, unbeknownst to the terrorists. That was 2 years ago, and now the tables have turned with an enormous military raid in the mountains of Vermont. After hours of explosions, fire, and shouting, all those inside were murdered. Is it murder in this case? Or is this justified in some way? Is it murder if it's justified? I don't think so. For the first time in the Commonwealth's history, Governor Sanders issued a shoot-to-kill order on all those inside. Oh man, this is an aggressive Bernie, telling the media they simply could not be allowed to live for the sake of the people. Finally, it's all over. Feel the burn! Rising Eagle. There's so many events. I will say, well written so far. I'm loving it. Well-known Irish author and failed presidential candidate Sean McMillan has released his much-anticipated alternate history thriller Rising Eagle, an alternate history in which the United States come out spectacularly victorious in the Cold War and the Soviet Union falling apart. I've heard enough of this fantasy. Tell more? Nah, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. It's just a play on the same thing in Kaiserreich about... Actually, I guess basically Führerreich. That's another mod I need to take a look at some point. All right, so we have the modern internet. Sweet. Let's go for protected networks. Yes, government-protected VPN or something. I don't know. Trust the government to protect your internet rights. It'll be fine. Chomsky meets Sanders. President Noam Chomsky flew to Vermont today to meet with Governor Bernie Sanders in order to congratulate him for his historic victory over insurgents. The 8 to 2010 terrorist movement will be remembered for years to come, and the commander-in-chief made sure that his political frenemy was aware of Philadelphia's infinite gratitude for ending it alone. Not once were Commonwealth troops used in the campaign against that disgusting conspiracy theorist and his gang, with Sanders opting to only utilize state troopers. The president arrived at Government House for a brief televised meeting between the 2 prominent politicians, but a private trip to the nearby woods gave them time to recall fond memories during the 1988 revolution, when the 2 briefly worked side by side. This is the first time since Sanders' ascension to becoming the most powerful person in Vermont that Chomsky has set foot in the state, but since this historic victory, it will certainly not be the last. Okay, there's so much freaking going on here. It's just, it's a lot. There's a lot. Hundreds of Libyan protesters have been killed. It could lead to a civil war. Do I not have any sort of, I don't have a navy. Oh, that's disappointing. Do I not have any planes either? No, I don't have any planes. Oh, that's disappointing. Hey, why is the American Republic still holding on to Washington, D.C.? Oh, I'm not going to stand for that. I want it. You got a few troops. When do I get to go and kill Donald Rumsfeld? Standing firm. Flight of the Executives, international stigma. A lot of people don't want to trade with the South because internationally everyone hates them. Fascinating. Okay, we can modify the government. I'm going to go ahead and get to... Do I want to go ahead and move on toward early mobilization? Kind of, yeah. It's going to build up a lot of factories sooner. And I think it's more important right now that I start revitalizing my economy rather than going for the manpower. Much as that would be fun, I think this is going to end up being more important. So that should give me a few more factories to work with. It doesn't seem to have made much of a difference, does it? But at the very least, we also should be building our military factories faster. So that's got to be good, right? Probs? I don't know. Mayday Attack. Oh, no, it's May 1st. On this splendid day of celebration, the American People's Commonwealth has been attacked at the heart of its greatest city. Just before 9 in the morning, a hijacked aircraft from Chicago International collided with Tower 1 of the National Economic Center, bringing with it a terrifying explosion of fire and debris. As New York's waking populace stood with shock and horror at the sight of jumping workers in flames engulfing every floor near the observation deck, it didn't take long for a second speeding jet to hit Tower 2. At this point, the entire nation and much of the world had tuned into breaking news of a terrorist attack on American soil, the first of this scale in history. Every minute, emergency services rushed to the scene, attempting to take thousands to safety with dwindling resources available. But then, almost an hour later, all those watching must have gasped simultaneously at the most horrific thing to be seen on television. Tower 1 came crumbling down on top of itself, killing 1,000 within, and too many below the building, already struggling to escape the flames that almost trapped them within their offices. Minutes later, Tower 2 fell in its demise in a similar fashion, tipping over almost at the very end and colliding with a nearby building, killing 100 more. Now as this unprecedented dust cloud clears and the world remains in utter shock at this tragic attack on our humanity, no one is quite sure what will happen next. 5/1 will now be an infamous day. Remember 5/1. Okay. And the... Okay, we're going to end this video here. There's too much to read. This is going to end up being a lore-driven series, I can already tell. Even if we never go to war in Blob, the alternate history is so strong with this so far. I'm actually kind of liking it. All right, we're going to end things here. Hope you guys are looking forward to this. I think we're going to try to make Bernie Sanders the president and see what happens, because I think it'd be kind of funny. But if you guys would like to see something else, actually tough. I don't think you guys get a say in the matter. Hit that like button if you are looking forward to this series. Leave the comments with your suggestions. Subscribe to that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.